I'm delighted to be joined today by the careers lead from Kingsbury High School, who's going to talk to us about their careers programme. Over to you, Jen.
Hi there, thank you for having me. My name is Jennifer Kincaid. I work at Kingsbury High School and I'm Associate Assistant Head Teacher here. And one of the areas that I lead on is careers, and I've been in that role now for about 3 or 4 years.
Great, thank you, Jen. So what would you say when you think about your careers programme? What's the key to making it a success?
Yeah, I think to start with, it's about having a really clear vision of what you're trying to achieve. And the vision over time has adapted ever so slightly, but I think at the heart of it is really about what our students need in terms of helping them with their next steps. And also sort of how important careers is in terms of changing people's socioeconomic status, and just really giving them that opportunity to thrive in their lives. So I think that's really important to hold on to sort of why are we doing this. And then on a more practical level, I think it's really about having the support of the senior leadership team and also the governing body, who have shown a lot of support over the few years, from just employing me to work in this position, to have somebody leading on careers that's in SLT, giving me the space in meetings to share what we've been doing, and also meeting the governors as well to go through the policy to get that signed off, and for them to really sort of ask questions about what we're doing and why we're doing that. So that's been really helpful. I think also the buy-in from staff at Kingsbury High School, the buy-in is definitely increasing. The more that staff and colleagues can see that's happening, the more buy-in you get. So it's really something that we're trying to build. Understandably, to start with, perhaps with slightly less buy-in, but there are lots of things that we've been doing in terms of staff training that really raises the awareness of careers and its importance. So I think some other things. I think having a really good network as well has really helped us, and that's something we've been trying to build up over the last 3-4 years. I know that working with West London Careers Hub has sort of brought in people that we can work with. I know that I've met them on CPD that I've been doing, and just getting names of people that I'm then able to go away and contact. And having that group of employees that we can sort of build relationships with, so we can call upon them when we really need their support, and they're also offering the support as well. It's good to build that relationship so it becomes less formal and much easier just to converse and invite them into the school. That makes it so much easier, is what I've found. And then I think as well, just having the support of West London Careers Hub as well, being on our meetings when we're reviewing how the career program's been going, when we're doing the Compass report, just to get somebody. It's easy to get carried away with yourself, I guess, and it's good to have people that really question you to make sure that you're giving completely reliable answers and justifying how you answering those and what have you done to meet that target, rather than just sort of clicking a few buttons and being like, yeah, I think I've done it. But it really holds you accountable. So I'd say they're sort of the key ways, definitely.
Cool. Well, there's some really great points there. Thank you. So when you, what would you say then have been the highlights of working with the West London Careers Hub?
Oh, actually,
you kind of just touched on those, haven't you? Really?
I have, yeah, but I mean, absolutely. I think having yourself being present in our meetings that we hold regularly, a minimum sort of 5 or 6 times a year, I would say, is a minimum. And that's been a real highlight. And I have to say, working with yourself as well, being really involved in what we're doing and offering your services and coming into school has been a real highlight. And I've got to sort of mention as well our enterprise advisor, which was brought to me actually before I started the role, and he's been integral to how we've developed careers program within the school. He's been absolutely fantastic. Like I said, really holding us accountable for what we're doing, and making sure that we are progressing. And when I first met him, he came to me with the vision, which is we will be the best careers program in the whole of London, if not the whole of England. And I really like that ambition, and that's what we really want for our students at Kingsbury.
So it sounds like your program's really evolved then over time. So can you kind of give us a little bit of information about how you've kind of factored in the Gatsby benchmarks as you've sort of gone through your program?
Yeah, I mean, they've become increasingly important. I mean, when I first took on the role and became aware of them, I was planning lots of like interesting little things within the curriculum that are to do with careers, but actually reflecting back on sort of the first 6 months, those things were perhaps not rooted in research like the Gatsby benchmarks. And so then I started to realize the sort of strategic priorities there, and really using the Compass report, I guess, as a tool to advise and to work through those Gatsby benchmarks and make sure that whatever we're delivering in the school is embedded, and making sure that it is strategic and it's in place so that we can use it year on year, so nothing becomes tokenistic. It's very much about embedding something that can be adapted and refined every single year until something else is required for our students. Yeah, and some of the things that we have done and we've sort of brought in, our applied learning faculty, who have a real passion for careers, being the applied learning faculty, they have given over some of their curriculum time and recognised the importance of careers, and they now deliver a careers curriculum to our students. And they have one lesson per fortnight, one lesson per half term, where they're using Unifob as a platform to work from, and they're delivering career sessions for year 7, year 8 and year 9 students to really try and embed careers lower down the school. Yeah, we've also got Careers Week, which we try to really engage with as well. And Careers Week is a real push for trying to get professionals to come in and speak for all of the year groups. We hold assemblies with professional speaking. We invite apprentices and people who deliver apprenticeships to come in and speak to our students during assembly, as well as that. And I guess the key one for Careers Week for us is really trying to link careers to curriculum learning. And that's something we're really trying to push and really trying to develop within the school, with some success. And it's definitely an area next year that we're going to be developing further. And we've been allocated training time around that to really get the buy-in from colleagues. And as much as buy-in, because they believe it and they know how important it is, but sometimes when you're a busy teacher, it's setting aside some time to prioritise it. And that's what we've managed to do for next year. That's already planned into the calendar. So yeah, so how's it evolved? I think I mentioned sort of the buy-in from the teachers, the SLT support for that as well. Yes, and oh, I was going to mention the training actually, which I have just touched upon. So it's really about SLT allowing or providing time for staff training, but also time in the curriculum for the students to access careers, because it can't all be done outside of school. There's just not the capacity to do that. So it's having the time within the school day. And then the final thing, well, we've sort of expanded our team slightly. We've now got a coordinator for careers as well. So I lead on it. And one of my colleagues, Manisha, she helps and supports with the coordination, and she's been a fantastic help so far.
So have you been able to take advantage of the West London Careers Hub resources at all?
Yeah, I have. So I've got to admit, definitely increasingly so. So when I first started a few years ago, it was more about sort of getting some of the key things in place that I knew that were needed. So professionals in speaking, and some other things into the Gatsby benchmarks. So it was very much a case of just take what I need. But actually, as the careers curriculum is becoming more embedded within the school, I'm looking to refine it more. I'm finding that I am sort of looking out to other areas, particularly West London Careers Hub, to call on resources and to find people that are able to come in and speak and support with T levels, etc. So it's definitely something that I've started to use more. I've also found that, if you don't mind me saying, having yourself as my coordinator, I definitely think that you've really engaged me with West London's Career Hub, and the fact that you're coming into school to speak to our students, the fact that we're having this meeting now, just that I really can feel that connection and that building of the relationship, and I really feel like I've got to know you, and just someone that I could call upon really quite easily. And you know, when you're really busy at work and busy in school, it's about having that support there. And I don't have to do things too formally, you know, I can just give you a call or arrange to meet with you. And I just find that that's really helped, and it's going to help more in the future as well. I have attended some really great CPD as well that's been offered. It was an online CPD and some network meetings as well, where I've got some good connections. And, you know, with the change in the access policy and having T-level providers coming in to speak, with that being quite new, it was really good to get some names of people that we could invite in and draw upon, rather than just trying to sort of scramble around and find them ourselves. So that's been really helpful. What else? I think also your weekly newsletter that we receive is really good. Sometimes it's a bit of a reminder to me in a busy week. Sometimes it's got some really good information in that we read through and we use, and I pass on and disseminate to other colleagues within the school. And I think sort of not finally, I think Nazim Ali, who is our enterprise advisor, he has been absolutely fantastic, and you know, a real support for careers at Kingsbury High School.
Oh, there's some really great points, and thank you for those kind words. So you mentioned Naz, of course. I know he's been influential in helping you develop your careers program. And how would you say working with him has enabled you to ensure the Gatsby benchmarks are the core of your program, and then also help you ensure that you're meeting the Compass Plus points when you do your evaluation?
Yeah, so I mean, Nazim has been with us right from the very start, so I inherited him, I would say, but if I could choose him, I would as well. And he has been a real support from the very start, from sort of putting together a policy, putting together a framework of things that we should be doing in school. Strategically, has been really helpful from that point of view. Really supportive, very much making sure that I do what I'm saying I'm going to do. You know, I feel accountable when I'm with him. It's a really great working relationship. And yeah, he's really supportive of refining the careers program. We sit together and we do the Compass report. So I think of the 3-4 years we've been doing it, I think there's been once that I've done it on my own. And that was probably because I was running a little bit short on time or whatever it might be, but he's been by my side with every single one of those. And, you know, it's, having done one on my own, you realise how it's really good to have that accountability. Someone saying, how did you do that? Can you show me? Well, he doesn't ask me to show the evidence, like we've got that trust. But, you know, it's just someone else to talk to bounce what your thoughts are. To go, should it be this or should it be that? What do you think? So you get a really sort of balanced set of results, rather than perhaps, me inflating them ever so slightly. So from that point of view, he's fantastic. And I think as well, sort of one of the key things we do when we're sat down doing the Gatsby event, going through the Compass report, is we sort of sit and make notes of some of the key areas. I know it gives you the results at the end. I think I find it helpful as I'm sort of making those notes as I'm going through it, and then we sit back and reflect on what we're going to do next. What's the priority for the next half term or the next year or moving forwards? So from that point of view, it has been really helpful. I feel like if maybe I'd have done it on my own, would I have spent as much time discussing it and reflecting it? Perhaps not. So it's good to have that interaction with it and someone, you know, paying a real interest in it as well. And it's, you know, he really he supports from sort of the strategic point of view, but then when we need to call upon people to present at school, he's been really fantastic at doing that. So he's been in the school numerous times now. It's a really easy relationship in terms of calling and just asking for help and for favours, I guess. And, you know, it's something that he's always been willing to do. So he's come in and done assemblies. During COVID, he did some recorded assemblies, a little bit like this for us. He's given us contacts for apprentices. So we've had some apprentices come in and talk and just talk what it's like working with Nazim himself. So from different sort of points of view, he's really sort of had an impact on the school and what we're delivering. He's also been into school to do some parents' evenings as well, and engaging with some of the parents. that's just something we've just started, and it's something that we want to build as we're moving forward. But the first one's always the hardest. Once we've got that system set up, hopefully that will become even more meaningful. So yeah, it's been integral to what we're doing.
Yeah, it sounds like he's been able to make a real impact. So that,
Yeah.
and it sounds like it's been really helpful. So that's great news.
It has.
So when you think then for the coming year, what do you think your goals, what are your goals and focuses going to be for the next academic year?
Yeah, so we've just been talking about that. I've always got lots of goals in my head buzzing around. I like to sort of pin them down. So I think next year is about continuing to embed careers. It's just something that's just constantly ongoing. But some of the key areas that we're going to look at developing is, and I've actually started some of these, so meeting with our SENCO to develop careers for students with SEND. At the moment, the provision is they sort of get what everybody gets, but there's a real recognition that actually they need a more bespoke and more personal careers program, and that's something we're going to start putting some steps in place for developing. So coffee mornings for their parents and carers, so we invite speakers into assemblies, and what we're going to do is at the end of the assembly we're going to ask a small group of students to stay behind and have more of a one-to-one or a one to a small group. So they can really interact with the professional rather than just hearing it in a big echoey sort of assembly hall, perhaps. So just to make that engagement a little bit more. And then we've talked about some other areas in that as well. So that's one priority. The other priority is linking careers to curriculum learning, which is really important. It's something that I've been trying to build in the school. And being a teacher myself, I recognise that time constraints are a real issue. So next year, just before we go into Careers Week, we've got some time, a 2-hour training slot where we can explain to the teachers and support staff about how they can support students and how they can link careers to curriculum learning. And on top of the training, give them some time within that to actually create the resources, because teachers want to do these things and support staff want to do these things. It's sometimes just having that time dedicated, and I think that's what SLT want, to give that time to really develop that area. And then finally, this year is our first year where our fantastic sixth form team, led by Shara Davis, they've introduced work experience, and it's the first time in many years since we've had work experience in year 12. And we've had a really fantastic uptake. About 100 of our 150 students, I think that sounds about right, have got work experience, but some haven't. And that's something we're going to be developing into next year to ensure that every single student has that opportunity. And we just need to really look at how we can support those students more to make sure that they've taken on that opportunity. So they're the key 3 areas, but I'm sure there'll be other things coming in as well.
No, it sounds like you've got some great plans. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been really interesting to hear how your program's evolved over time, and I look forward to working with you and hearing more about your successes over the coming year. So thank you for your time.
No, thank you very much.